3 unacceptable behaviors that should not be tolerated. There comes a moment in every man's life when silence stops being noble. At first, you may think you're choosing peace, that you're being wise by holding your tongue, but slowly, that silence turns into weakness. There comes a moment when tolerance, once a symbol of patience, becomes a betrayal of your very soul. And then there comes the moment when being too nice is no longer a virtue at all. It begins to cost you your peace, your worth, and your dignity. In the name of Stoicism, we often speak of patience, of control, of endurance. We admire the man who does not flinch in the face of hardship, who carries his burdens with quiet strength, who remains composed while the world crumbles around him. But do not mistake this teaching. Stoicism is not submission. Endurance is not servitude. And most importantly, self-respect is not negotiable. Without it, all the rest falls apart. Today, here on Stoic Drift, we uncover 3 unacceptable behaviors that no man, especially one grounded in Stoic strengths, should ever tolerate, not from others and not from himself. Because the truth is simple, a man who refuses to set boundaries will forever live beneath his potential. He will bend, he will break, and in the end, he will wonder why his life feels empty. So let us examine these 3 silent destroyers one by one. Part 1. Disrespect disguised as jokes. A wise man may be indifferent to insults, but he is not blind to disrespect. And sometimes, disrespect comes wrapped in laughter. Think carefully, how many times have you simply laughed it off? That sarcastic remark tossed your way with a smirk. That just kidding insult, the kind that is delivered with a smile but lands like a dagger, that passive-aggressive jab, cloaked in humor, but leaving you with a sting you cannot ignore. Yes, Stoicism teaches calmness, but calmness is not the same as compliance. There is a difference between being unshaken and being a doormat. If someone consistently jokes in a way that belittles you, mocks your progress, or undermines your values and character, then understand, this clearly is not humor, it is hidden hostility, and tolerating it sends one very dangerous message. I do not value myself enough to walk away. A Stoic man does not need to raise his voice. He does not explode in rage. He does not plead for others to treat him better. Instead, he lets his energy speak, or he makes his exit. With his presence or with his absence, he makes one truth clear. Respect is not optional. Part 2. Emotional manipulation and guilt-tripping. No man is free who is not master of himself. Epictetus. This second behavior is subtle, and that is what makes it so dangerous. Emotional manipulation. Guilt-tripping. It creeps into relationships quietly, often disguised as love, concern, or care. But behind the mask lies control. There are people who will twist your emotions to control you. They will make you feel guilty for choosing yourself, for setting boundaries, for simply saying no. They will call you selfish when you put your own well-being first. They will weaponize your empathy until you are constantly explaining yourself, apologizing for things you never should have apologized for, and even doubting your own reality. Have you ever noticed how quickly manipulators shift the story? One moment, you are the one being wronged. The next, you are apologizing, unsure of what just happened. That is the power of guilt when it is used against you. But here is the Stoic truth. If your peace comes at the cost of someone else's approval, then it is not peace, it is slavery. A man rooted in Stoicism does not fear being misunderstood. He does not collapse when others label him selfish or cold. He does not shrink when guilt is used as a weapon against him. He sees the manipulation for what it is on. He responds with clarity, not compliance. If someone constantly makes you feel guilty for growing, for healing, or for choosing solitude over chaos, then recognize it for what it is. That is not love. That is not care. That is emotional control dressed up as concern, and no Stoic man should ever tolerate it. Part 3. Being taken for granted. Do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about others. Be one of the few who truly live. Marcus Aurelius. There is a quiet pain that is unlike any other, the pain of being taken for granted. You show up, you care, You help, you listen, you support. And at first, you give from a place of love, of loyalty, of goodness. But over time, you notice something. Your presence is not appreciated, it is expected. And when you stop giving, when you take even one step back, they vanish. Suddenly, the calls stop, the connection disappears, and you realize the bitter truth. You were valued only for what you provided, not for who you are. This is the danger of not valuing yourself, of believing your time, your energy, and your presence are not sacred. But the Stoic man knows better. He understands the sacred value of his attention. He gives, but he does not give endlessly. He loves, but not foolishly. And when he realizes he is being taken for granted, he does not beg for recognition. He does not fight for validation. He simply removes himself, not out of bitterness, but out of deep self-respect. You are not here to convince others of your worth. You are here to embody it. Quietly, firmly, unapologetically. The Stoic choice: there are battles worth fighting, and there are boundaries worth defending. And sometimes, the most Stoic choice is not to endure, but to walk away. Walk away from disrespect, even when it comes wrapped in a smile. Walk away from manipulation, even when it wears the mask of love. Walk away from being used, even when they dare to call it friendship, because you were not born to be a sponge for other people's toxicity. You were not created to absorb their chaos, their disrespect, their ingratitude. You were born to rise, to live by virtue, by value, by truth. This is not about being harsh. It is about being whole. And if the price of peace is abandoning your self-respect, then that peace was never real to begin with. This is Stoic Drifter Space for men who want to live with strength, with purpose, and above all, with honor. If this message spoke to something inside you, don't just click away. Like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to the channel. Join a brotherhood of men walking the Stoic path, and always remember, self is the soil from which all true power grows. Never tolerate anything that poisons it.